make 20% on your money? Do you make 20% on your money? Would you like to know how to make 20% of your money with no risk? Zero risk. I figured this out about 15 years ago because somebody said to me, well, Willard, I only got $500. How do I invest the money and make some money? So I worked out a system. I'm now going to tell you how to make 20% or more on your money with zero risk. How many people here use toothpaste? Only one doesn't use toothpaste. Now, when you buy toothpaste, you buy a tube at a time?
No.
Sometimes.
I don't want to hear your comment. When my wife buys a tube of toothpaste today, it's $5 because she buys one of those expensive, fancy brands that's made with Arm & Hammer or something. But it's $5. Now, you can go to Costco and you buy 2 or 3 of them together and the price comes down a little bit. But what if you went to the 99-cent store down here and bought a tube of toothpaste for 99 cents? Now you're beginning to save money. Well, what if you went downtown Los Angeles and bought at the wholesaler the toothpaste that the 99-cent store buys for 50 cents? Now, I know they're smaller tubes, but bear with it. Then you go to the wholesaler, but instead of buying a tube or 2 tubes, let's say you bought a case. And the price now comes down to 15 cents or 10 cents per tube. And you bought toothpaste. And you go, okay, I've got them at 10 cents, and you bought a whole case. And the whole case might have, well, I don't know, it could be a gross, which is 144, but it might be 25 or 30 in a box, in a big box. How long does it take you to use the toothpaste up? Could take 5 years. If you had a family with 2 adults, 3 kids, the dog, a cat, a visitor, a stranger, you could do it in 2 or 3 years. So imagine, instead of buying a tube of toothpaste for $5, and then you buy another tube of toothpaste in about 2 months for another $5. So if we spent $5 a month on toothpaste, in 2 years, 24 months times 5, what's that, $125 for toothpaste? And here you bought a whole case, and that lasts forever? What's your return on your money? We won't figure this out, but it's pretty high, right? Let's take another example. I remember back when I was a young man, and my mother would go buy toilet paper. And she would buy toilet paper at 10 cents a roll. But when you went on the shelf of the supermarket, it was 30 cents a roll. You know, you bought your Charmin or you bought your other brand, and they had the extra this with the extra that with the extra this and the expensive advertising campaign of Charmin. So it's 30 cents a roll. But my mother would go to Smart & Final and she'd buy a case. And in those days, they were 10 cents a roll. So she was paying 1/3 the price. Now, since we were a big family, we'd still buy a case twice a year. But my mother didn't go to downtown LA, where she could have bought that case that she bought at Smart & Final. She probably could have bought that case for 30% less, at least 30% less, because that's the markup between the distributors and the next level of marketing. You got the manufacturer, it goes to the distributor goes to the wholesaler sells to the retailer, and then you got the dumb idiots at the end, which are called the consumers, who pay retail. Well, I figured all this out when I was a kid, and I'm going, this is insane. And When I was about 18 years old, the Japanese were starting to ship steel products into the United States because we had built them steel plants in the 40s after the war, and they were now coming and competing with the United States steel manufacturers and distributors, and they were bringing it into the country. And the price of steel was going up. And I go, Dad, the business uses, we bought rings for containers. And I said, Dad, the price is going up 20% a year, and we use these things, so why don't we buy a 5-year supply? Because they don't rust, they don't go bad. And the price was going up 20% a year. So he said, tell you what, son, you buy them with your money, and the company will buy them from you as it needs them. Do you know I made $4,000 as a kid selling these rings to my father's company because of buying in volume and the price going up? So I've given you consumer examples, and I've given you business examples. Now this goes on with anything. You can do this with any consumable good that doesn't go bad, that you personally are going to consume. So you don't want to buy something which you may change your taste. Some people say, well, you can buy your clothes this way, wholesale or below wholesale. But clothing taste changes, so I never advise it. But things like toothpaste, toothbrushes, socks, different price structures at different places you go. But if you go really early on the chain, where they're importing them in, and then they sell them in quantity, and you buy in quantity, you can buy cheaper than Costco. And so they last you 2 years, 3 years. But your money's invested in product, and then if you're smart, you'll sell the product to yourself. So since you're not buying a $5 toothpaste tube, you'll pay yourself the $5 that you should have spent, put that in your savings account, and you'll have that money because you're using up your 2-year supply of toothpaste. And I can't remember, but I have things that I bought, and it took me 10 years to use it up. And God, now a roll of toothpaste, toilet papers, $1 a roll or more? Boy, oh boy, I got this big truck outside that's a 40-foot truck loaded with toilet paper that I bought at 10 cents a roll. Did I get rich on selling to myself? Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.